the social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of bear. Fuck them back, it's only for they war. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one makes gun. Trees, laugh to your face, fight and die. Cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower class and social side, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. See their shit, force a bear. Fuck them back, that's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one makes gun. Trees, laugh to your face, fight and die. Cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ron Stevens. This is Rock the Boat right here on UCY.TV. It is the 11th of June, 2017, and you'll just have to excuse me for a second. I had to reload this, and I got a whole bunch of videos playing in the background, so I'm just going to shut them down. And yesterday, or last night on Revolution Radio, we were talking about, there we go, they're shut down now. We were talking about Michael Schmidt and his and his group's fight for so many years over something as simple as milk. And not being able to allow to have it, and then we went on to Bill 69 or 89, which is really quite sad. But I was thinking about it last night, and I thought, Bill 89 is actually probably one of the best things that happened in this province of Ontario. When you look at it from a positive side, it's fantastic. Because these clowns are coming out of the woodwork now, right? They're saying that if you don't abide by our new child care program, they will just come and simply take your child, and there's nothing you can do about it. And a lot of people are confused into thinking, well, this is overt action by the so-called government, that they will take the children. Well, you register your children, you sign them over to the freaking government. So, it's always been that way. They can pull your child pretty much any time they want. Lots of children have been pulled from good parents and given to not good parents. And it's all a big experiment, and now they've ramped the experiment up a little bit farther with Bill 89. And so I looking at it as a positive thing, because when we were in Newmarket at the court, a Russian lady who came here in 98, I think, with her family, who, wanted to come to Canada. I ran into all kinds of people who wanted to come to Canada because Canada be promoted as this great, beautiful, free nation. And once these people get here, and start looking around, because they got different eyes than the people that were born here, because they're looking really from the outside in. They're not in the bubble, so to speak. And once they get here, they start to see that this is a mess. This is probably worse than where they left to come to. And you know, the one lady I was talking to, the Russian lady, she pulled the kids out of school. They're out of here because she went to the school to ask some very simple questions of a teacher or something and didn't want to answer them. And gets this, well, I'm not feeling comfortable crap, or I'm feeling threatened crap. And this lady's so soft-spoken, it's nuts. But it's when you're dealing with cults, okay? A cult won't answer a question. If someone in the cult starts asking questions, well, they're going to get the boot out of the cult. So all the friends in the cults now are not their friends anymore. And this is exactly what we're involved in here. This is absolutely turned into a cult. So she just asked some questions. Next thing she knows, security. Then she's told not to ever come back to the school again, even though her child goes to the school. And being an intelligent woman, which she is, because I talked to her for quite a while, it didn't take her long to figure out that she needs to get her kid away from these people. And I encourage everyone to pull your damn kids. You want to make changes. Why would you possibly leave your child in the hands of these satanic pigs? You know, Kathleen Wynne, who's the Premier of Ontario, who's a lesbian, our so-called environmental Minister of Environment and Climate Change is gay, right? And if you go look up, or you can find it on my blog, CanadianTruths.wordpress.com, just go punch in the search engine there, just punch in the word Yuri, and you will bring up this ex-KGB's stuff from the 1970s. He tells you exactly how they brought countries down, tell you exactly how they're bringing the West down. And the one thing he makes a big deal of is do not ever, ever, ever let gay people get control of the frickin' government. So Kathleen Wynne was the Minister of Education, and they're working on the curriculum, which is the curriculum from the United Nations, which is a satanic body. And the senior policy advisor for Wynne in the Ministry of Education turns out to be a friggin' pedophile. And now they're bringing in Bill 89, and they want to turn your little boy or girl into the opposite gender they are. They want to mess their heads up, and they want it's really pathetic. Anyways, I run into this video last night after the show, and it pretty well is in your face, because basically what Bill 89 says is if your child comes home and your child says, I'm really a girl, not a boy, grade kindergarten, 1, 2, 3. And you say, no, Tommy, you're actually a boy. Look between your legs, you idiot. And no, the teachers told me, and we had some people in to talk to us. Now you have these very extremely impressionable young people. Now, if you have some impressionable young people who are not, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe they don't, maybe they're just shy, or they're not, they're not sure about who they are. I'm not talking about sex. They're just young, impressionable kids. And maybe some of them don't have the, what is the word I'm looking for? Don't have the, I can't think of the word I'm looking for. They don't have a real sense of worth, put it that way, I guess. They're not sure who they are. They're not strong, okay? For whatever reason, they're not strong. So that's who that gets targeted, these impressionable kids. It's like no different than the scouts, and that's what they're doing. They're scouting the kids. No different than high school and that, where the sports scouts or the entertainment scouts wander around the schools and scout these people out who they can use. No different now, except now we've got the sexual scouting going on. Who is vulnerable? Who can we attach ourselves to? Who can we make children that don't feel important? And that's what they're doing. So this video I dug up last night says exactly that, because what the Bill 89 basically says, that if your child comes home and says, I'm the opposite sex that I am, and you attempt to say no, and the child goes back to school, and the school says, did you tell your parents? Yes, I did. And what did they say? They said, no, no, no. At that point, you are harming your child. And the state at that point has the opportunity to pull your child and put your child in a different home, probably the home of some lesbians or some gay people or some transgendered people or whatever, so that they're given what they need, right? And so this kid out of Montreal that I ran into last night after the show, he's 8 years old. He's a drag queen, 8 years freaking old. That's grade 3. He's a drag queen, and it makes him feel important. That's what they did with Bruce Jenner. They splashed him all over the place. I mean, he's the woman of the year, for crying out loud. How can a man be the woman of the year? Not possible. This is how twisted this has gotten. And it didn't happen overnight. I mean, they don't do this that quick. I mean, this has been a long, long, long haul to bring us down. All we should have just, if the people would have stood up, and I remember talking to people in the 70s, they don't want to hear nothing about nothing. Just ignore, and let them move their programs forward, and then you're aghast at what you see today. Well, it didn't happen today, okay? But we're getting over the top now, which is actually, when you think about it, a good thing. Because if this don't wake people up, I don't know what the hell will. I've seen a story, I think it was out of Edmonton, Alberta. They're having a Pride Day, and they actually put a Pride flag up beside the Canadian flag, and the Pride flag had the Canadian maple leaf in it. So they changed the colors of the Canadian flag to the rainbow flag with the maple leaf in the middle, and somebody cut it down, and I guess CBC went apeshit over. I'll look up that story in a bit, but the point is that when I went looking for some mainstream media info on this Bill 89, I couldn't find it. I mean, Bill 89 was passed on June the 1st, and usually when you go looking for some news articles, normally it's the mainstream media news articles that pop first in Google. I didn't find any. The only thing I found, and it's not mainstream media, was the Canadian Newswire. And this goes out to all the media, but I didn't find National Post, I didn't see CBC, I didn't see CTV, I didn't see Toronto Star, I didn't see any of these places front and center. Oh boy, Bill 89. But they will splash on the papers that drinking raw milk will kill you. And I've been drinking it for a long time now, and I think I'm still alive. I feel pretty much alive. But anyways, I'm gonna try and make this make sense to people. We have this is the kid, and I'm going to throw this in. This is Montreal's drag superstar. Now, what happens here? It's the same thing as with Madonna and all of these other entertainers who are absolutely freaking disgusting. Miley Cyrus, and I don't know most of these people. I'm paying attention to them really, but these are the things that the little children see, and they're impressionable, and they try to mock it, right? Okay? And monkey see, monkey do. Okay? And a human being, for all intents and purposes, is a great ape, something that evolved from a great ape. We call a monkey. Monkey see, monkey do. And that's what they're doing with the kids. They put this stuff on the TV before the kid ever gets to school. You know, this kid's sucking this thing up from the time it's 6 months old or whatever. So it's been sucking it up for 4 or 5 years before it ever gets to the school system, which is just waiting for it. It's already been indoctrinated, putting the kid in front of the TV and watching the cartoons. You know, I've seen some cartoons years ago. I was absolutely disgusted with it. You know, you got to be blind not to see the messages being pushed. So the schools are ready for the kids when they're ready to come in because the curriculum all comes out of the UN and all the experts. And they design these satanic agendas. And then the kids come into school. And then you got this thing here when you're being pushed like a superstar. Now, this is an 8-year-old boy. Now, what this kid says right off the bat is the message of Bill 89. And it basically goes, if your parents don't like it, then you need new parents. And that is exactly the message of Bill 89. If your kid comes home and says, I'm a girl. No, you're not, Tommy. Yes, I am. And goes back to the school, and they say, how did it go, Tommy? Or what, Sally, whatever you want to call his kid now. Well, my parents are really angry about it. Well, we'll have to fix that. What you need, my friend, is new parents. And that message is just in your face in this video. You know, throw it in the chat. And I've got it up on my Facebook. If you're not in the chat, you can go to Rock the Boat Radio Facebook, and you will see this thing. And if this don't piss you off, if this don't make you go down to the school and punch the principal of your school right smack in the nose, then there's something wrong with you mentally, and you shouldn't have the children. But then the state can't have the children either. So we got us a bit of a problem here. But I still see this as positive, because this has got to piss people off. And if this don't piss people off, then, well, you're already dead. You're already brain dead, right? You will listen to this little boy, 8 freaking years old, telling the people, you got this gay interviewer, then this kid's on a catwalk, and everybody's applauding in that. And these other little vulnerable kids in that. You see, a kid doesn't have anything in its brain. It's got nothing to back up what's going on. It's got nothing to base anything against. You know? Oh, this is fun. This is what they're doing with Islam to bring it into the schools. All right, this is supposed to be a Christian nation, and I don't even know how you would describe that now, because that's a messed up bunch of people too. So you mess those people up, you deceive those people, and you're not supposed to be deceived, but people are so weak of mind, spine, and spirit, it's pathetic. And so they remove the Lord's Prayer out of everywhere. They create a vacuum. Vacuums have to be filled. The kids don't know nothing after. I mean, you move this out for 10 years. There's no basis for anything. The kid has no memory of anything. So now when he goes to school, oh, let's get some prayer mats and put on little scarves on their heads. Won't that be fun? And the kids will go, oh, sure, it'll be fun. What do we know? We don't know nothing. This is how they implement stuff. Okay, so your child's minds are being destroyed. Their bodies are being destroyed. Their spirits are being destroyed. and it's time that people get their act together. You sacrificing the children. This goes right back to I hate this thing. I gotta fix this in the chat here. I got too damn busy. I have to register a name and a password. I had it registered, but for some reason it went away. So I have to do this the hard way. What do we got here? There, we'll get that in there. This is the most disgusting video. Now, I saw a National Geographic that had another little kid. I don't know if it's the same kid. I don't think it is. There's another kid, is being splattered all over the place. Not that these parents are abusing their child or the school system's abusing the child. Oh, this is wonderful news, says the media. It ain't wonderful news. Nothing that comes out of the mainstream media is wonderful news. But on the other hand, I don't know how much this has got to get into your face before you just say enough is enough. I don't know what it's going to take. They're pushing. I mean, they just, how much harder can they push before people say enough is enough? So that's that. And this kid's being played up. So these other vulnerable children who don't have a real feeling of self-worth yet are easy targets. Now we have what do we got here? This is in New York, I think. This particular not that video, but this next one. This is a freaking school. Taxpayer-funded libraries from New York and Florida to California are paying grown men to dress up as women and promote gender confusion, homosexuality, homosexual marriage, and cross-dressing to children as young as 3 freaking years old. Government preschools and elementary schools are also being targeted. Okay, so I'm going to put this in here as well, and you have a librarian or a teacher saying how wonderful this is. Bite me. Okay? There's nothing freaking wonderful about it. This is absolutely satanic. These are the kids. This is child abuse over the top. Here's another video. Footage of full drag queen show at elementary school leaves parents horrified. But you see, you don't own your children. The state owns your children because you registered them to the state. But you just have to overcome that and say, bite me. You know, I've heard so many horror stories from people who have gone to the school boards for a school board meeting and are treated like absolute garbage. These are the parents. In other words, you have nothing to say unless you agree with what we're doing, and if you don't agree with what we're doing, we're going to kick your ass out of this meeting. And this absolutely has to stop. And this is now that they got Bill 89 in place, that they have the ability, and this is straight out of the UN, the Universal Children's Rights or whatever, who say that children are sexual from birth. Okay, now you go back to Martin Luther, who was a monk in the 1500s, and he was a completely devoted Catholic monk, and when he got to Rome, he basically wanted to puke because of what he saw going on there. Little naked boys jumping on the birthday cakes and stuff. Okay? These are satanic dogs from hell, if you will, and we're allowing that to take place. There's only two things. There's good and there's evil. That's it. Everything else is that gray area which is used to deceive you and weaken you and drag you somewhere that if your brain was functioning right and you were running on black and white, you would never allow it to happen. Okay? But these people are very good at what they do, and they're extremely evil. Uh, this is all of these issues of gender fluidity and self-acceptance, it says in this other video. No, this is the same video. I mean, these people, I don't know if the priests got a hold of these people when they were really young and turned them into this nonsense, or what the hell happened here. But they were targeted. Then they're trained. Then they become the teachers. And now they got the children. You only have your child for a very short period of time each day. Get up, Tommy and Susie. It's time to go to school. Here's your breakfast. Don't forget your books and your lunch. Bye-bye. Have a nice day. Don't forget to do your homework when you come home. Okay, it's supper. Watch a little TV. Get a little programming into your head. Okay, it's late, and you're only in grade 2 or 3, and you got to get lots of sleep, so go to bed at 8 o'clock. So actually, how much time does a parent have their hands on their child? Not very freaking much. That's by design. Meanwhile, the school's got your child all day. All freaking day. You got to get the kids back. Now, I don't know what this one is. This is out of Manhattan. Okay, this one. This is what kills me. This is what kills me. Here's another one. I don't know if this is from the same place or what. CBS New York. Parents complain. Get this. Parents complain about PTA drag performance. They complain about it. Burn the frickin' school down. Don't complain about it. Do something about it. Pull the kids. Get them out. If you're leaving your child in these schools, then you are guilty of abuse. Period. There is no excuse that can be given to leave your child in the school system. You know, that whole environmental thing, when I talked to my nephew, who's 20 now, when he was 12, they were running around with that inconvenience truth thing in the theaters and the schools and everything else. And I asked him how the kids were taking this thing. He said he has all kinds of friends in school that are traumatized. They can't sleep at night because they've been convinced that the world's about to end. Not only are they convinced of that, they've been convinced that it's their parents' fault. Okay? And this is what the school board does. It's always your parents are the problem. I mean, your parents can see the bull crap, and the ones that speak up get pounded by political correctness, and then they become silent. They don't want to jeopardize their jobs. They don't want to upset their neighbors and yada, 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 yada. Well, you best start upsetting some people, and you better learn one simple fact, and you better run with it, because if you ain't running with that, then, well, you got no spine. And I don't like to see men with no spine, although it seems to be the general rule now. Spineless bunch of pathetic excuses for men. You know, when one man comes on your job site and you're having a smoke out in your truck or your trailer, and some little pencil neck comes up with a piece of paper and writes you a $250 fine for having a smoke, and you don't bust his frickin' nose or run him off the job site, then you are a spineless worm. Well, I don't want to get in trouble. You are in so much trouble. I mean, how do you make these excuses? They're not acceptable. They're not acceptable. I run all these people off any job site I ever been on. You come on my job site and you start babbling your nonsense at me, I'm going to twist it around, shove it back down your throat, and kick you in the butt and send you on your way. Mentally kick you in the butt. Why do people lay down so friggin' easily? Fear? Fear of what? You know, I want to give a big thumbs up to the guy in Edmonton or whoever it was cut that pride flag down off the pole. Way to go, boys. But here we have, this is the heading: parents complain about a PTA drag performance. You're complaining? What are you, retarded? Just get it done. You know, if you run with this, you will find it works very well. And I've always run with this. Say what you mean and mean what you say. And if the little pencil neck doesn't like it or feels offended by it, then they got the option of walking away. That's it. You know, over the years, I've spent so many phone calls to government agencies and that, and premiers' offices and prime ministers' offices and attorney general's offices, and I've noticed this over the last bunch of years, is it's disintegrating into a lockdown. You know, where you could have a pretty vibrant conversation years ago. Now it's, oh, I'm not feeling comfortable. What? Well, your tone of your voice. What? I'm going to have to hang up. I'm feeling offended. You know, like, shut up and listen to me. Well, that's it. That's hurting my feelings. These are your government agencies, okay? The same thing happened to that Russian lady when she went to the school to discuss something about what was being taught to her child or whatever at the school. I'm not exactly sure what she was there for, but I do know I spent a lot of time talking to her at the Newmarket Courthouse, and she's a very, very, very level-headed, intelligent woman. None screaming and carrying on, just had some questions. Of course, the teachers felt offended or weren't feeling comfortable. Don't know what to do with it because they're crazy, and has to call in security. And that's what we got now. All of these people that are controlling all of these things connected to the children have the security. And each time that you ask them a question that makes the cult feel uncomfortable, in comes the security to sweep you out the door. Because we don't want this questioning to continue because, well, other parents might question, or children might hear you questioning, and they might start questioning. And we took a long time to build this cult, and we don't want it tore down right away or ever. So this is, I haven't watched this, but these are short little videos. This thing's 3 minutes. Give it a shot. And, you know, like I said, I up until a few days ago, didn't even know nothing about Bill 89. Well, I do now, and you know, it's really, really pathetic that this has been allowed to get as far as it is, and the fact is that the media, you know, covers this completely up, and they'll put up stories that mean nothing to nobody, and promote them everywhere on every freaking media outlet. And something this important, you don't see it. But this is the kind of garbage that's going on in your schools. And if it's not going in your schools today, hey, how you doing? Just doing this damn thing.
On the air?
Yeah, I'm on the air. I'm going to be on the air for another hour and a half.
Good for you. Have fun.
Well, I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm just, I'm really pissed about this Bill 89.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, so that's what we're doing. We'll do Bill 89 today, and, this little Montreal drag queen, age of 8, who's a superstar. I'm just
Dance hands.
It's bad, man. It's really friggin' bad.
I'll talk to you in a minute.
Yeah. There's, apologize for that, folks. I just had somebody come in. So where the hell am I here? But this is what we're facing. And we've got to put a stop to it. We really, they're turning this into a game. Here's a video. Boy who dresses drag gets surprised, and I don't know who these people are, but apparently these kids know who these people are. Bozo the clown used to come to the schools or whatever, right? Now we got Bozo the drag queen. Boy who dresses drag gets surprised from hero. Who's the hero that this boy who dresses drag is surprised to see the hero? And who is this hero that this kid is seeing? Why, it's no other than Bob the drag queen. Right? Now, most parents are off busting their ass working. And here's another one. Drag show in Miami, dancing to Girls Run the World. And this is just full of this garbage. It's just this stuff's everywhere. We'll get the money. Make sure you get the money before they take the door, or I'll sick a drag queen on them. There's Ron Paul, or RuPaul. I forgot about this doofus. Now, how long has that clown been running around? Okay. Long time. But now it's in your public schools. Like, I don't give a sweet damn what you do. Okay? I could care less. But we have to, see, this is legal in law. See, Bill 89 is a legal document. It's not a lawful document. Okay? Because Bill 89 is designed specifically to cause harm. And to cause harm, of course, is against the law. So I don't really give a damn what you do. I don't care. Okay? Don't shove it in my face. Don't tell me I got to accept it. Okay? But when you're jamming this stuff down these little children's faces and into their minds, then that is causing, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's causing harm, and to cause harm is against the law. Okay? And if you don't back off, we're going to bring the law on your ass. Not the legal system. We're going to bring the law after you. And we're going to kick your sorry asses out of here. Because you're causing harm. Oh, no, we're helping the children, they say. You best get out of my town quick, son. Right? Because you ain't going to appreciate trying to live here. And that's basically the attitude we got to take. I don't give a damn what you do. behind closed doors, that's your game. I could care less. Keep it there. But when you're out targeting little children, that used to be a very, very nasty crime. Now they're normalizing it, and that's one thing Yuri Brezhnikov says a lot in his videos. We come in, we cause chaos. We pick the teachers, we pick the politicians, we pick the professors that will move our program because they're useful idiots. And then once we get this all going, then we normalize. Okay? And this is what they're doing now. They're taking a very sick, satanic program, and then they normalize it. So now you have people that isn't burned in the school town because of the PTA drag queen thing. Some parents complained about it. Okay, now you get these people jumping. What are you complaining about? I mean, they're trying to help the children. Don't you know this? Right? This is not normal. There's nothing normal about it. You can't normalize something this sick. Oh, maybe you can, because they're going to try. And that's why these superstars whose music sucks, their stage acts suck, and why they are making all this massive, massive amount of money. And these other really good musicians you never hear about because they're not going to push the agenda. And most of these people were messed with when they were children. And then they're felt important, just like that little boy drag queen at 8 years old. They're already putting them up as a superstar, right? And people emulate that shit. If you put somebody up as a hero, and you have weak-minded people, a certain percentage of those are going to say, wow, if I could be like that, I could be famous. I wouldn't be just little nobody, right? And that's what they do. And we got to stop it. We have absolutely got to stop it. Because if we don't stop it, who's going to stop it? Who? Now, here's another one. I'm going to stick this in a minute 22. These are very quick, but I'm hoping to make you sick. I hope you're so pissed off at this that you at least voice your opinion about it. So now you have the teachers in the school. Got a pride flag hanging off what looks like a file cabinet. You got some doofus dressed up, and you got the students going there. And, it's the latest, greatest craze kind of thing. This is truly pathetic and truly sick. And all of these people ought to be put somewhere that they can't harm anyone else. Drag day at school. How in the hell can you have a drag day at school? 2013 LGBTQ drag show. And that's basically, what do we got? How the hell did these pride parades? City of Toronto has this humongous gay pride parade, which is absolutely sickening. I've never watched one, but I've seen a couple of clips off of TV, and that it's absolutely disgustingly. And here we have the City of Toronto forking taxpayers' money to sponsor this thing. It doesn't take much to add two and two together that this is completely and totally wrong. And people, they got people so stressed and so busy running around trying to keep a roof over their families' heads, they don't have time to deal with this stuff. But you're going to have to deal with it, folks. You're going to have to step up to the plate. These are the children. I don't give a damn if they ain't even your children. They're children, right? They're children. And, if the parent doesn't want to stand up and protect their child, then we have a responsibility to protect the child. These aren't, cats and dogs. These are children. But the state's saying that if you don't, if you voice dissent against these drag shows and all of this other nonsense that's being taught to these little wee tiny children in the schools, if you speak up against it, they'll come and take your children. So it's just absolutely freaking disgusting. We have to get our feet planted firmly on the ground. We have to, you got to understand, they have a war room. And renewable energy is part of their war room. It's all about taking you down. Now, it's much easier to fight back before you're slammed up against the wall. It's much harder to move once you're up against the wall. And so it's time we go, right? I'm lost for words here. I mean, I am so freaking disgusted. I spent the better part of the last 2 weeks, I think more days in court than out of court, and to watch these pathetic excuses for men and women trying to harm other men and women who have harmed nobody. And then to see this, where these people are absolutely there to cause harm, and they back up the harm, they protect themselves from being persecuted for harm they're doing with a bunch of legal mumbo jumbo. We got to cleanse the system. And everything that becomes legislated is legalese. And legalese is a language of the liars, the deceivers, and the thieves. Why the hell would we put up with that? Why would we put up with that? Because we were taught that legal and law are the same thing. That's why we put up with it. But they're not the same thing. They're opposites. Law is good, legal is evil. It's really that simple. Good and evil. And we've allowed the evil to take complete control over our lives. Then you wonder why people take so many drugs. You wonder why so many people are depressed. You wonder why this is such a mess. Because we're not in law. We're enslaved by the legal, which is the language of the liars and the thieves and the deceivers. Take heed no man deceive you. Well, the legal system, by definition, is an amoral deception. So why are we putting up with this garbage? Can you imagine the look on some parents' face that are working their asses off, trying and stay afloat, sending their kids to the public school system, And then to have their kid come home and say, you know, Mommy, Daddy, I'm a boy. No, you're a girl. Or I'm a girl. No, you're a boy. And then go back and be prodded by the school system. It's the same thing when they're asking kids, you know, does your daddy or mommy have a gun at home? Do you ever notice your mommy or daddy smoking crinkly little cigarettes with no filters? This is the exact same shit. So the kid goes back to school and there's a little discussion. You know, maybe Bob the drag queen drops in and they're talking. And then the one kid, well, I told my mommy and daddy and they said it's not true, you know. And then the whole class becomes aghast. And the teachers are just, oh my God, you poor thing, you. Somebody get me a telephone, right? And now we have the child service workers at your door. And they said, we understand that Tommy says he's a girl. And for some reason, you don't believe that. Well, he's not a girl. Tommy, drop your drawers. Does that look like a girl to you? That's not the point, sir and madam. It doesn't matter what his physical characteristics are. It's how he feels. And he feels like Sally. Well, he ain't Sally. What are you teaching these kids? Sir, I'm becoming offended with your tone. Now, you either accept that your child is actually a girl and not a boy, or we will have to do something about that. You can't walk into my house and tell me what I can and can't do, or tell me how my child is going to be. Oh, but we can. We have Bill 89. And we happen to have a lovely gay couple who would just love to help a young child like Tommy here. Or we also have a nice transgendered couple who probably may suit Tommy better because he does sound transgendered now, doesn't he, Mr. and Mrs. Smith? You get the fuck out of my house. Well, that's language that we don't care for, sir. Officer, can you do something about these people who are abusing their child who says it's a girl, and they're trying to attempt to tell their child that it's actually a boy? And the father's freaking out, and the mother's freaking out. Of course he's a boy. He's got a dick, you goof. Oh, that's the physical characteristics. But he believes he's a girl. How the hell can he believe anything? He's only in grade 3. And before you know it, mommy and daddy are arrested. They're going to court now. The child has been lifted and put into a proper indoctrination system. And that's just the way it is. And it's got to stop. Because everyone, and I mean everyone, this is not about, oh, look what they did to those parents and they took the child. This is not about that. This is about every single one of you. If you are breathing, you have a responsibility to do what is right. You know, it goes back to the old, when they came for so-and-so, it didn't stand up and nobody stood up. When they came for so-and-so, nobody stood up. When they came for so-and-so, nobody stood up. And then they came for me. And then I looked for help. There was nobody there. This is how they take you down. We're going to stand together. If we can't stand together, then we deserve exactly what they got planned for us. We deserve it. You know, just think of a picture, you know, I don't care where, you know, or what war. There's lots of pictures of it. You got a whole slew of people standing in front of a ditch and a few guys with rifles. Back in the old days, those were like single shot guns. They got a couple hundred people lined up along a ditch, and you got 10 guys with a gun. And these people stand there docile as hell while these guys shoot and reload and shoot and reload and shoot and reload. And I don't get that. I don't understand that mindset. If you got this many people lined up against a ditch and you got that many guys sitting there with a single shot rifle, you go get them. Oh, few of you may go down, but you're going to go get them instead of standing there like a bunch of docile mummies. Because those people that were standing in the ditch, they were suffering from broken spirits and broken minds and broken spines. And that's why that ended the way it ended. And our nations are broken. And our people, their spirits, have been basically destroyed. They're still there. And their minds have been destroyed. And their spines have turned into jelly. But there's still a spine there. And there's still a mind there. And there's still a spirit there. And it's time we recognize that. And it's time that we work together and encourage each other to strengthen those three things that have been weakened so badly. And then we stand. Because they cannot withstand us. There's too damn many of us. Period. Just like those people along the ditches. All they had to do, lose the fear. Fear not. There's nothing to fear. You know, these mental idiots, these sociopaths, these psychopaths who study psychology understand how you operate. They know how to weaken you. They know how to deceive you. They know how to get you to accept things that normally you would never accept. And this is basically the basis of the school system. It's a psychological experiment. And that's why Brzezinski said it would take 2 or 3, 2.5, 3 generations to get the people into the position we want them in so that we can do whatever the hell we want with them or get them to believe whatever we tell them. And that's where we are now. But that's the turning point. You know, you throw a ball in the air, a ball will go up in the air until it hits the top of its curve, and it will sit there momentarily before it begins to fall. As far as I'm concerned, they've run up their hill, if you will, and they've hit the top of it. And they can't go any further. And now they're sitting there hovering, and they will slightly come down, but we have to help it. right? What we want to do is when it comes down, we're going to help it come down, but what we need to do is dig a big hole or a big ditch. So when it comes crashing down, we bury it once and for all. I want to see the students of the future read about this garbage and how it failed and how the good people got up and kicked it in the teeth. We beat it this time, and we're going to beat it this time because we don't got a choice. We beat it this time, it will never raise its ugly head again. We bury it once and for all. And then we go back to law. You know, teach your children well. You are supposed to be in charge of your children, not the state. You're allowed the state to be in charge of every aspect of your life, which keeps you in the child position, keeps you frightened. You can't enjoy your life when you're running around stressed out and frightened all the time. That's not what your life is supposed to be about. So we got to go back to law. Now, if you think about law and you think about legal, we get back to law. As long as you don't harm someone, live your life. When I see what goes on in these courts, I really want to just get up and walk up beside the judge and just pop one in the head, because these are about as low life as you can possibly get. I would have more faith in a man living under a bridge that has lost his job and his house and his automobile and everything else. I would have more faith in the honesty of that man than the idiot sitting up there on the bench pretending that he's acting in law when he knows damn well he's not. So we got to get rid of the deceptions. We got to get rid of the dishonesty. We got to get rid of the criminality. And the criminality, in most instances, is sitting on the frickin' bench or wearing a uniform. I got to tell you, I'm really happy, because it was like an experiment that I started some years ago. Actually, a long, long time ago, I started this experiment with the police to see if it was possible to teach them anything other than what they were taught. You know, and some police that I attempted to teach, in some cases it was like 30 years later or 25 years later when I'd be talking to these cops again. Most of them retired by that time. And where they were running around, get Stevens. That was my whole life. Because I didn't really follow the rules the way they laid them down. I just basically did what I did with the understanding, if I don't hurt somebody, back off. And that really irritated a lot of people in the administration. And same thing in school. You know, but later on when I talked to these guys, you know, I was a kid, they were grown men, now I'm a grown man, and they're older than me. They have a lot of respect for what I was doing. I've always been trying to teach those that need to be taught that what you're doing is wrong. It's harming people. I got no problem with peace officers. I got no problem with that at all. And we constantly telling these people, but a peace officer is a man of law, okay? And your job is to, if someone's harmed, is to go and find out who the hell did it and bring him in, and then we can have our little jury trial, and the two parties can hopefully come to some sort of a reasonable conclusion that undoes the harm, and have them shake hands and understand that something was learned here and carry on with life. The legal system is the exact opposite. You don't even need a victim. It's a commercial enterprise. And it's just business, guys, you know. So we got to keep teaching the people that we generally dislike, and bring them on side. A lot of people say that's not possible. I don't agree with that. Anytime somebody says something's not possible, I call that an excuse. Okay. Oh, you can't do that. Why is that? Well, it won't work. Why is that? Well, they won't listen. Why is that? These are all just excuses. And I don't like excuses, really, you know, because you can't get nothing done if the next thing out of your mouth, every time you're trying to do something, there's an excuse of why you can't do it. You will never accomplish anything, you know. Even when I was trying to get people to run in local elections years ago, the frustration level on my end was so freaking high. I was so angry, but I can't show that anger too much, right? Trying to figure out timelines, trying to figure out, you know, this, we got to get this going. And, you know, when I look back on it, it was too early. And now we're there. It's time. And I'm seeing more people that are getting more in line with the idea that we need to take some power back here. I mean, think about it. If you've got the school board teaching your son he's a girl, then why are you not running for the school board? You know, why is that? Oh, I really don't have time for that kind of stuff. That's an excuse. They're messing with your kids. Well, I know, and I'm not happy about it, but, well, somebody else will probably run and deal with it. And who would that be? Because they're going to do the same excuse you're doing. Okay? So you're not going anywhere. So just step up to the plate, huh? Step up to the plate. All of the power in their countries sit at the local level. Not the provincial state level and not the federal level. All power is in the hands of the people. Well, not really, because they seem to have all the power. No, that's because you haven't stood up and took it back. Well, not much there. There's your damn excuse again. All of the people live at the local level. None of the people live in the state legislature or the federal legislative buildings. Nobody lives there. All of the people live at the local level. The people at the local level are feeding the monster that is destroying your nations. You're feeding it. Now, why would you want to feed something that is there to destroy you? Not bright. Not even semi-intelligent. All of the power is at the local level. Why is that? Simply because that's where everybody's boots are. It's where you live. And you're allowing this entity to put this cloud over your communities, and then you work and feed it so it can further destroy you and contain you and harm you. Makes absolutely zero sense. The only place that you can change this out from legal to law is at the local level, because that's where the people are. That's where the men and women live. It's where your children live. What we need to do is get enough people, and I think this saddens me more than anything else that I've ever been involved in. You know, every local council has, I don't know, somewhere between 5 and 9 generally counselors. And so the bigger the community, the more counselors you have. But generally 7, 9 people out of your entire community, your municipality, your town, your city. This little handful of people are shoving this garbage down your throat, and you're allowing it. It's like 7 or 9 people roll into your town, like in the old westerns, on a horseback, and they come in and take over your town. Now, why would you allow that to happen? I have no idea. If somebody comes in and threatens you, you're going to run their asses out. Although we don't seem to have that capacity anymore. Well, we'll get in trouble. Well, I don't know. You get up every morning, you're in trouble before you put your freaking socks on. You're still in trouble when you take your socks off at night. You know? I want a war. You know? I want a war. But I want a war fought intelligently. You know, because this is a spiritual and psychological war. And if you strengthen your spirit and you understand even the slightest bit of psychology, we can take these clowns down, jiggity boo, man. There's no problem here. None. You know, my country's got 34 million people in it. I probably got 40, 50,000 of them running the joint. Let's see, 34 million against 50,000. Doesn't even make much of a street fight, does it? But that goes back to the ants and the grasshoppers. All you got to do is stand up. The grasshoppers are sitting there. They're getting nervous. They are getting extremely nervous now. But they keep pushing because you ain't pushing back. So you're just consenting to every damn thing they do. If you don't push back, they just keep pushing forward. And they got 50,000 pushing against 34 million, but 34 million are being pushed against the wall by 50,000. That makes no mathematical sense whatsoever. We've gone so freaking weak. You know, it's really sad. But I am also of the opinion, and I believe I'm correct on this, because I see it, is that people are starting to understand. They're starting to understand that legal ain't law. They're starting to understand that even though you sign your children over to the state, they're still your children. Okay? And the sign over was a deception, therefore it's a fraud, therefore it doesn't have any validity anyways. Any contract that is not fully disclosed is null and void. This is how easy it is to shut these people down. We just keep tripping along going, well, it says here, oh yeah, I see that, okay, well, whatever. You know, that's why I like that thing. You know, that's when I was reading last night. You know, I really think this just makes a whole hell of a lot of sense. You know, I mean, I've already researched this to death when I first ran into it. I don't read a lot of other people's stuff. I just wander around checking words and trying to put things together and going back in history to see what connects to what. But I think this is so good, you know, because I hate paper because we're being, you know, this is death by 1,000 paper cuts or whatever it is that's saying. Okay, because they always got paper coming at you. Says here on this piece of paper, oh God, it does. Look, asshole, it says right here on this piece of paper, my God, I didn't know about this Bill 89. You know, either we accept that Tommy is Sally, or they're going to take Tommy and turn him into Sally anyways. Well, shit. Well, welcome home, Sally. Because that's what the paper says. You either do this, or we're going to do it to you anyways, and we're going to take your kid. But we're going to get this done. Because it says so right here on a piece of paper. Right there on that piece of paper. Very smart expert wrote this. And it's all written in legalese, which is the jargon cant argot language, which is the, by definition, the language of the thieves and the deceivers. But even though they are liars and deceivers, and they use these jargon languages to gain advantage, you still have to follow this and accept it because it's on a piece of paper and they wrote it. And that gives us the authority to come into your home and take your child and do whatever the hell we want with it if you don't do to the child what we want you to do to the child. Because it's wrote here. You know, and I love, you know, this is just too simple. And I'll put this back in the chat today because there's probably people in the chat that weren't in chat last night. Now, I'll you know, if you're listening and not in the chat, we'll get you the website for it. But this is so simple. This is the easiest read you will ever find, giving you a good overall explanation of what you need to know and the way you've been deceived. And I seem to have an interloper here. Not really an interloper. A really good friend I have respect for. Hey, Christopher, how are you, my friend?
Hey, bud.
What's up?
Oh, did I call the wrong number?
No, this is Drag Queens Are Us.
Yeah.
I sent you that video. Do you watch that? Did it make you want to puke and cry all at the same time, or what?
I was looking for all the baseball bats I had in the house, and I sent them out with the boys.
Like this. You
know what I find the sickest part of that? Well, I mean, the whole. I mean, it's obviously it's sick. I mean, this is worse than Germany before Hitler, and that was bad, man.
Yes, but you know, there's that Jewish lady says that we're behind it. Oh, did I say Jewish people are behind it? Damn. I hate when that slips out of my mouth.
But you look at that big burly guy with the beard. I mean, that really set me off. I mean, you got the faggot beside him going, oh, don't you look beautiful or whatever. And then you got this big burly guy that dressed him up, and he's looking him up and down like he's a piece of his property.
I know.
Like an 8-year-old boy.
I know. I was really disgusted.
That guy needs to be shot in the head immediately.
Who, Daddy?
Whoever the guy was behind that little boy.
Yeah, well, there was the mother there who looked pretty tough, and then I figured the other guy, the kind of bikery looking guy, was his father.
I don't know.
I watched that late last night. Yeah, I looked at that late last night, so I didn't pay it.
You sick motherfucker. I'm glad we're on UCY so I can say that.
Well, that's what I was thinking today because I've dropped a couple of bombs and whatnot. And I thought they were. I don't like to cuss, but I thought it was it fit today.
Well, in anger moments, sometimes it's Yeah. But anyways, that's wow, man. No, I didn't watch that last night. You sent it to me last night, and I didn't watch it till this morning. And when I seen it, man, I started to boil. My blood was just red hot.
Well, this is what you'd figure out that Wynne was the Minister of Education and her head policy guy working on the international agenda or curriculum is a pedophile. He's doing time in jail. How in the hell do you end up with a lesbian and a pedophile in the running the Ministry of Education for children? How does that happen? Not by mistake, and not, we didn't notice these people's background. They know exactly who they're putting in there.
You know what? When I was raising my first pair of children with my first wife, we had to go through the family court system, and men are bad, women are good in those days, right? I got my children every second weekend for 2 days, Friday night till Sunday afternoon. And my kids grew up, my first two kids grew up, knowing me as just a really cool guy to hang out with on every second weekend. And it's still happening to this day. I mean, I'm not close to them, as close as I would like to be. I was as close to them as I could be. But because of our court system, I mean, it's not where it should be. But I mean, this is going 10 levels higher than that. I mean, just
what you have is now you've given the Children's Aid Society, okay, a new bounty, a new financial incentive.
And they make money off every child, right? So that's
where the money comes from.
Yeah,
they're an arm's length, legislated by the government. Arm's length, government can't really tell them what to do. They have the act, right? But no, they get paid by their clientele roster, which are the children, which means there's a bounty on them. They get so much per head. And they call that child services. No, it's a bounty. So now they got a whole new bounty out there, and they probably get paid a higher price for stealing kids that they want to train into transgendered kids.
Yeah, you get a bonus.
Yeah, they'll get a bonus on that. So now you've got the school teaching the kids. You've got the child services with the bounty. And you got the parents sitting there at home with no authority to do anything. So now the courts are going to fill up with these cases, which means the lawyers and the judges are going to make more money, right? Which the clerks are going to make more money, right? This is an expansion, and that's what that Chief Justice warned about exactly in 1929. That they set up these damn bureaucracies, and you got to feed them, right? And the only place the food can come from is the working stiff. And I don't know how parents, somebody mentioned that to me. We were in court in Newmarket, and we were busy, working with Michael's stuff, and kind of heard it, and busy with other stuff, but the last day we were there, that Russian lady and another young mother, sat down and talked to me for over an hour, and I'm listening to them, and I'm going, "This is nuts," right? But they were brave enough; those two women were brave enough to understand their responsibility to their children. And when they took took the glasses off and actually looked at what the school system is, they pulled their kids, right? Get them out of here. you'll never really have a child who is up to its potential in a public school system. I ran into this singer called Mean Mary. I don't know how the hell I ran into it, but very talented. And her family's from Alabama, and they homeschooled their kids. And I think Mary I think she was 9 when she got her grade 12 equivalency. And her brother was 15 when he graduated high school. But they never went to school, right? They just got the papers and filled them out. And so these kids didn't spend their whole day sitting in a freaking room. They were out playing and gathering things up and helping Dad build a cabin and so on and so forth, getting some useful stuff. And the school was a breeze for them, right? Because it was just something you did, right? Okay, so I'll read all these books and I'll write a test. Same thing I told my teacher in school. Just give me a damn book. I'll read it and give me a test. I'll read another one, give me a test, and I'll be out of fucking university before I'm 18 freaking years old. Let's go. Oh, we don't do it that way. I can see that. But then you see this other group of people who homeschooled their kids from square one, and he's out of school out of high school at 15. Which could have threw him out through university by the time he's 18, which would seem normal. And these are very independent, intelligent people. And they don't know about you can't do this and you can't do that. They were never indoctrinated into that shit, right? But my good God, I mean, when you put a bill in place that I can just see the shock on some parents, because they're going to get shocked, because they're going to flood these schools with transgenders and drag queens and every other damn thing.
Well, it's gay. I don't know what. I guess it's everywhere in Canada right now. I don't know what it's like in the United States, but it's Gay Pride Week.
Yeah, we're supposed to have.
I mean, there's celebrations and bands and dances and 8-year-old children running around in drag downtown in Kingston right now. If I go there, I'd lose it. I'd be in prison probably right now.
Well, that would be all right as long as they give you a Skype connection so you can call in.
Even 20 years ago, Ron, I'd say 20 years ago, because we would have taken this. We would have had guys in place, men in place, that would have went,
Yeah, but see,
shut it down.
Right, but I mean, when somebody was at the co-op the other day, and I was there, and he says, he comes in, he says, it just dawned on me, I'm 50 years old now. He said, I was like, yesterday I was 15. I used to go to Sutton Park because that was the place to go, and I could get served there at 15. And now I can't buy a pack of smokes unless I look 60. And it dawned on me. I said, yeah, I mean, because I don't know, when I'm 62 or whatever. And, I said, I remember this shit, because we had dance halls in every single town up and down this lake shore. And, it was rock and roll, man. And then I went into Sutton Park, the same thing he was talking about one night, and, walked downstairs, and I'm hearing, that's the way, I like it, I go, what the hell is that? Right? And that's a long frickin' time ago, and it's that slow frickin' progression, right? And now they got her in the schools, So it's a softening, right? It's a softening all the time. You had the churches saying, well, we have to, move forward. And so now I saw there's a transgendered priest or something now that they're playing up. And it goes right back to Rome, man. I mean, when I read that shit, when I studied Martin Luther, and I read that shit that he ran into in Rome, and I look at today, I don't see any damn difference. Right? They want more money. They make a new bit of legislation, which is your new sin tax, You weren't wearing your seatbelt. That's a sin, son. We're going to have to give you a ticket, right? Oh, you were texting. So that's distracting. I have to give you a ticket. And all this other nonsense to go, this pedophilia that's being pushed front and center. It's no different than really what is it modernized, but it's the same damn thing that Martin Luther ran into in the 1500s.
Yeah, it's getting dangerous again.
It's getting very dangerous again, and we're going back to another Reformation, and that's what he did. You know, and we got to step it up, folks. Got to step it up. And I don't want to see people with baseball bats walking into a gay pride parade, busting heads because, you know, I actually feel sorry for these people because these people were mostly indoctrinated, right? They were the people that were easily influenced. They were the people that didn't have a great deal of self-worth. And those are the people that were targeted. And this is what they're doing to the children now, right? And they're going through the schools, and they're, you know, oh, there's one we could get. They're very shy, quiet, you know, and that's
what angers me, Ron. That's why I keep talking about ball bats, because that's what angers me. The children, you know, don't mess with my children.
Don't mess with anybody's children. That's what I'm saying. Every man and woman has a responsibility for every child, right? At least the way I see it, because the children are the future, and if we allow this shit continue, well, there's no future, and we got to fix that. How about on the other side? You know, like I said at the start of the show, when I sat down and thought about it last night. When I plugged that video in, and you got this gay guy interviewing this 8-year-old drag queen, and it's the same thing. Like I said, you know, the little kids were watching Miley Cyrus and all, and it goes way back because it just got worse and worse and worse and worse as it goes along. But this is what the children are presented with, and they have nothing to base it against.
They have no clue.
No, it's just, oh, that's cool. That's what everybody does. That's cool. So that's what I'll do.
Well, they get the support from these faggots.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And these pedophiles.
So friendly, it's sad, right? You know? And, yeah, you know. You find some boys that you know, don't like the roughhouse and don't want to play ball or whatever. And see them sitting off to the side, and that's, you know, slip them a Barbie doll, right?
Yeah.
You know? And tell them it's normal. See, in the old days, in the old days when you were 8 years old or 10 years old or 12 years old, if some little boys came over and said, "You want to play Barbie doll?" You'd punch them in the head. Right?
Yeah,
that's just the way it was. It's just the way it was. Like, what are you, retarded? Come on, let's build a treehouse or something, right? Well, I got my mummy got me some new Barbie clothes. Shut up.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus.
You're hanging with the wrong crew.
Yeah. So they just brought it, you know, you know how they target, right? You know, it's no different than going to the schools and looking for ball players or hockey players. It's the same thing.
Well, I mean, even in, like, it's not as real bad here as I've heard it is in some of the schools in the United States, but They have Gay Week or LGBTQ × 2, whatever the hell that is, week in high school here, right? And
wait, what?
Well, LGBTQ × 2, or because of all those other letters, I just call it ×2. But so, you know, you got everybody running around with pink shirts and being flamboyant and being whatever they want to be. They want to be a goat. They can be a goat, you know.
I know.
And I pulled my son out, and I actually No, I can't afford to homeschool because I got to work all day. But I do give him some actual homework. I make him do.
Well,
some
your
lessons.
boys are old enough now, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, when I look at that movie always bothers me. That movie that made for TV series, that America with a K, and I can't encourage people enough to go watch that. Now, you can skip through a lot of it because there's a lot of filler in it because it's 13-part series, but it shows the one son of Chris Christopherson. And this is political correctness over the top because those guys who were speaking out ended up at a re-education camp, and they had to take an oath to the flag, and the flag consisted of the American flag on one side, the Soviet flag on the other side, joined together in the middle by the United Nations flag. I should tell you, shitload. And but when he went back to find his boys, and his mother, the mother, his wife, they got divorced. And she went to the other side, to the committees and the boards and all this kind of stuff. And he's still fighting for independence and this and that. And when he got to the one school, he found his one son. This was made in 1987, the same year as Girl Bruntley Report, Our Common Future came out. And but he when he found his first son, who was probably about, I don't know, 13 or so, and he had the 1980s haircut, and he had the jeans and the jean jacket, and he was still a guy. And then when they went and they found his younger son at another school, and his younger son was basically feminized. And when he saw his father, because they've indoctrinated that age group into the, your parents are the problem, and so on and so forth. So when he saw his father, and his father says, come and see me, he looked at him, and he ran to the teachers in that, right? And basically outed his dad, right? And this is what's going on. I mean, it is so pertinent to what's going on today. And if you take the migrants that are in that movie and just switch them out with Islam or the Muslim migrants, you got the same damn story to a T. And this is the after the takedown of the United States. It's not the takedown; it's how it is afterwards, right? And people trying to fight back. In the end, Christopher gets a bullet in the head because he goes on the radio. And the guy says, don't do that, right? And Christopherson looks at him. He says, I got to do what I got to do, and then pop him. But then his, at the funeral or whatever, his sons and that and the friends, they're deciding we're going to fight on. But we got to get this fight going before, if you only got little pockets of people here and there that are standing up, they're going to get knocked down. So we got to get the people to stand up, and that's why I think this is actually so positive. This nonsense, this gay pride, and now into the schools and indoctrinating little children into being transgendered and that. I do believe that's something that corrupt and that insidious will begin to really say, okay, enough is enough. And we can go get this fixed. We need bodies. It's that simple. We need lots of bodies. One guy walking in, one or two guys walking into a just say, I'm going to bring George in here. I don't think he knows that we're doing a show right now.
Oh, you're in
George. George?
How are you doing?
Yeah, we're just finishing up a show here.
Okay, you can give me a show.
No, stick around. Stick around. Okay. We're just doing a show on Bill 89, where the transgender and the children and the young grades and turn them into drag queens and all that kind of shit. And it's totally disgusting. But no, I'm really interested. I want to introduce George. Farmer George is an organic farmer from Owen Sound. He's been on the show before, and he's involved in this court case with the raid October 2015, over at Michael Schmidt's farm. And George is one of the ones that was charged with obstruction. And George didn't come in for his warrant or his summons, and so he's not. They got kind of two trials going now, and kind of messed them up a little bit more. And George is well aware of the what was going on in Newmarket. So when you sit down, George, and I thought I'm not sure if you left on Friday before the judge had his final meltdown or not.
Unfortunately, I had to go, and I missed that.
It was brilliant. It was beautiful to watch. It's always nice to see those guys melt down.
Right.
When Michael brought up the fact that McPherson lied consistently over and over and over in order to get the warrant that the justice didn't want to give him, and that he had to say that you guys were violent and you were members of the Free Man on the Land, and the reason they needed the warrant was because there could be violence and all this horse shit, straight out lies, and it brought up the perjury of both McPherson and what's the other guy's name? The agent there?
Glenn Jarvie.
Glenn Jarvie. And then the judge is going like, well, yeah, but sometimes people say something they don't mean and this and that and the other thing. I mean, this is straight out perjury, and he wants to let that slide, right? So he's totally messed himself up, and I don't know if you were in the court when the judge, because the Crown's so useless, when the judge basically took over the role of the Crown, and then lost it and had to take a break when he got called out on the fact that he crossed the floor. So yeah, it's nice to see them melt down like that. But what else? What's up, anyways?
Well, I don't know. I think I had the liaison officers remember that how Glenn was so proud that he was Lucifer.
That's one sick puppy, that boy.
Well, I'm going to have them on the stand to let everybody know who the Eye in the Pyramid is.
Now, you were saying something. When we were in that room, you had that American dollar bill, and you were pointing something out. But
we got to be less careless with our language.
Well, I know.
We got to start calling things for what they are instead of what they appear to be.
Exactly. It's all about language.
So what is this? What was it we had in there again?
Well, no, but when we were in that room talking, there was you, me, and Enos and Anna in there. Mm-hmm. And you had the dollar bill, the American dollar bill, and you were pointing and you brought up, I thought I heard you say something.
What? Just a second, back up here again. What was it that I had?
You had a piece of paper in your hand.
Which was
a bunch of green ink on it that appears to be an American dollar bill.
That's deception, and
I know it is. I know, but no. But the point I'm trying to
it appears to be a greenback. Well, let's not confuse the listeners with this mumbo jumbo that comes right out of the pit of hell. Let's call it for what it is: the truth. You remember what it is? I'm sure you do. Are you there, Ron?
Yeah, I'm here, but the truth on what?
The truth of that little chunk of paper. Like, I mean, it's the top little, it stands out at the top of everything. It's called a Federal Reserve note.
Oh, yeah, okay.
A Federal Reserve is a private bank, and this is one of their promises to pay. And if you study history at all, you'll find out that these central banks have the worst record going. All these banks have the worst record going to honor their promises to pay or their notes. Well, and they're getting everything set up right now to collapse it.
Well, I know.
Unfortunately, they're into a box here where without the notes, they don't have a clue how they can function.
Well, this is the thing. This is why, like I'm saying on the show today, even as disgusted as I am with this pedophilia thing that's being brought into schools under Bill 89, that it's actually a positive step, because you have to be mentally completely dead not to rise up to something like this. But back to the note. I don't want to get on the note too much. But when we were in that room, I heard you were pointing at the note, and then you had a mention of Jarvie in there. Well, Jarvie, like, did he say this is me, or what the hell did he say?
in spades, and they remembered that when I asked them again in the hall yesterday. So I'm going to get them on the stand to fess up that this guy thinks he's Satan himself and proud of it.
Jarvie does.
Correct.
Well, I know he's a complete lunatic.
And we'll play that little clip where he doesn't want to bring God into the issue.
Well, no, they don't want to do that because they're bringing law in, and they don't want law because law wipes them out.
The law there is to protect people. The legal system is there to rob them.
Mm-hmm.
He can't let God and the law interfere.
Exactly. You can't. See
where the judge goes with that. If he's had a meltdown, just wait. We haven't started.
No, he actually, I took over and gave him those 2 pieces of paper I printed out from that site, and the legal and law and the definition of man. And I went over and because Jarvie was kind of he kind of looked at me because when we were down in Newmarket, I seen him out in the hall and I called him Mr. Evil. And then when it was over, I asked him if he could come and raid my place next because I'm getting so used to seeing him that I would feel lonesome without Jarvie around. And so I had to see him in the courtroom, and I handed 2 pieces of paper. I said, "You best read that, my friend." And he did. And the cops were reading it, and they were really reading it close. We just get the truth. The truth. It's all about the truth.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty straightforward, actually, when you get
down.
It
is, but we just need a lot of bodies pushing it.
Right.
And, it's like old Ruth said down there at Newmarket, when I said, we got to start kicking S's ass real hard. And she said, don't have to. And I go, what do you mean? She's already over. All we got to do is stand up now. And she's absolutely correct. There's an old Jamaican woman. Come on, guys, get your act together out there. I mean, an old Jamaican woman gets it that easy. Then what's our excuse?
Laziness, I think.
Well, I study this a lot, and I just I say this that we suffer from weak spirit, weak spine, and weak mind, right?
It's true.
And we just got to strengthen those things and understand who we are, and that understand we're in law, not in legal, and we stand in law. It's over. It's over that quick.
That's true.
So.
You have to have, when you're in a democracy, it's quite a chore to get the message to the masses with all the interference in between. Their whole strategy is to get their new structure, their new legal structure, this new order, they call it. It can only come out of chaos. They've got to make things so ugly and frustrating. We haven't seen anything yet that will make for any kind of relief at all.
There's a movie because I always say we're going to win this without violence, because violence is what they want, therefore we can't give it to them. But there's a movie that I watched with a friend, and he thinks he's God because he's got some new age shit running through him, like we're all God. And, so he was looking for something funny to watch, so... and I don't watch many movies, but he come across this movie, I Sued the Devil. And that really got to him, It's a guy who's been living his life, and then I don't know what happened exactly. It's been a while. But he was thinking about killing somebody, and he couldn't believe that and I think he was a law student. And so he hit the brakes on the car, and the glove box popped open, the Bible pops out.
Might have been that Bundy guy down in Florida, right?
You should watch this movie, George, because I've been saying for years and years and years that we can't get it because of all the noise, right?
That's right. Was it on your list?
And so there's a scene in that movie where the kid tells that Satan's got all these top lawyers and the judge is on side and all this kind of shit. So his kid goes up against it. At one point he says, get behind me, Satan. And then he ends up winning the case. But the devil or whatever makes his speech. And he starts off by saying, you know what God created, right? The trees and all this nice stuff and all the good stuff. You know what I created? Noise. right? So you can't hear and you can't see, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually quite a good scene. And that's it, because you know and I know, that there's good and there's evil, right?
Yeah.
And the story goes that some guy got uppity or some angel or whatever, and God gave him a boot. He just unfortunately landed here. And his plan is to destroy God's creation. But he can't do anything himself. He has no power. He's just a spirit or angel, whatever. So he has to deceive people into doing his work for him.
Just like the corporations, all these
exactly
corporations are the vampires that are feeding off us.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I don't particularly care what people think about Scripture. I don't really give a damn what they think about the Bible. But the fact of the matter is that all of our kings and queens and whatnot all took an oath to, or the men and women took the oath before they could ascend to the title to live by the word, which is the law. And once they break that oath, they moved into tyranny, and that's exactly why it is called color and force of law. That is the definition of tyranny.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And we just got to turn it around.
Well, all this stuff's 180.
180, yeah. That's why that's why I changed my name to Rock the Boat, because the boat's upside down, and we got to get it flipped up into reality again.
Right.
And then we get peace, and then we get freedom, right?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. So when do you go to court again?
Apparently you don't want to see me for a while.
Oh, yeah.
It's September 23rd.
When is it?
September 23rd, I think. I haven't hammered it down yet.
Yeah, because you were there like 4 times, bang, bang, bang.
Well, 4 times
nothing happened.
2 times in this other court, or is it 3 now?
I think it's 3 or 4 now, but it's because Michael's got to go back Friday, and I think come Friday, I ain't going to miss that because everything's shaking in there real good now. So I don't know how this judge is going to recompose himself. The Crown is an idiot, so she's got nothing. And Jarvie was looking pretty gray there by Friday afternoon. He was looking a little bit shook. You know how he's always running around smiling.
I think unfortunately, I wasn't there for Enos, but Anna did a bang-up job, and I think I heard that Enos did as well.
Yeah, Enos did a great job because he shook the judge down again, had to have another break, right? And they kicked Enos out of the court for a while while they tried to figure some stuff out, right? Like Enos was bringing forward the fact he'd been arrested 3 times, right? We're kind of trying to figure out why Enos, who was charged, and then they withdrew the charges. And the only reason they withdrew the charges was because Enos put a civil suit against the cops that hurt him. And they didn't want to hear that at all, right? So they had a break. So went outside, and then when Michael come back in, he started exactly where he left off. And the judge just going, well, you would have enjoyed it, George, because the judge, when he left the one time, he was all shook to hell. And when he came back, he didn't have his glasses on, and he's sitting in his chair, and he's looking around, and he's going, uh-oh. And he says, somebody needs to go find my glasses for me. And he put his hands together, and he put his fingers together, right? And he was sitting up there waiting for his glasses, and his hands were just a shaking, right?
Yeah.
Because, the deal is get Michael, right? And they got nothing. They got nothing in Newmarket on the injunction. They got nothing up here on the obstruction charges, and the whole thing's falling apart at the seams. And it's glorious to watch, beautiful to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So this has been a long haul for you, right? Like for people that don't understand, George is a man of great conviction, and a man that knows right from wrong, and a man will stand up. And this is George got a pretty strong spirit, and a strong spine, and a strong mind, and we all need to work towards that. But they actually threw you in jail for 165 days, right? Or somewhere in
that was a few years ago when.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Like they'd never knocked you down yet.
Well,
no. Like you didn't say, oh well, I got beat up by these guys and I quit. It just makes you stronger, right?
Well, it's it's so easy to see the injustice that's being done once you kind of find the key.
Yeah, once you've been involved in it.
These courts they really, I think, defy belief. They did, even for myself at the start, that things could be so corrupt.
It's amazing, isn't it?
That's the reality. They are.
Yeah, when you actually see it.
It's all a theater, dressed in black. It's total from the dark side. That court is nothing. It's the synagogue of Satan. It's nothing more than, you see, it's all about the money. It's no different than the Scribes and Pharisees selling the doves. It's the same thing to bring in money to pay the users. And that's
I look at it as almost a form of rape.
Well, yeah, it's financial, for sure.
Yeah.
People don't understand as well that the big rape is behind the scenes from the massive loan that is on the banknote that people wander around as a birth certificate. That is a bunch of debt notes. That birth certificate is a banknote.
It's an account. It's an account.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it's an account. Like all these numbers they attach to your name are all accounts, right? And well,
everybody goes before that court as a fictional being.
Yeah.
You're the birth certificate.
No men or women in that court.
No, they're all acting.
Yeah, and you know, so. But they're really getting nervous in there. They're getting very nervous, and the cops seem to be getting much more calm about everything. They're reading the stuff now, and they're looking at this. I mean, we've been in court so many times and talked to the cops so many times. Their attitude towards us has completely changed.
I thought Kelly and Stan, where Stan in particular.
Is this a cop?
Yeah, those are the two liaison people.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That girl and the guy, they were close.
Uh-huh.
They come up from Tillsonburg in Essex, I believe, like for every day that Michael's in court. And all they're doing, as far as I can see, is observing and discussing and talking with the people involved. Mm-hmm. And it's nothing more than a public relations campaign that I think they're on that isn't working.
No,
and
they've lost that. I
see some frustration with Stan in that reality.
Yeah, they're losing their grip.
Yeah, they are. And
anyways, we're just about out of time here. I think we got I don't know what we got here, 30 seconds, 40 seconds left or anything. But, I want to, again, first of all, thank George for all the great work he's done. I want to thank Chris for all the great work he's done and continues to do. And, if anybody's anywhere near Walkerton, Ontario next Friday, 9:30 in the morning, drop in. I mean, if you like comedy, I guess it's about what it's turned into now. If you like comedy, drop into the courthouse and see for yourself what some good, solid men of strong mind, spirit, and spine can accomplish in a courtroom.
The law is there, Ron. I just want to say the law is there to protect you. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know the law, you have forfeited your protection. That's exactly right. You just slide on into that legal system, and they got you. Correct. Like a bunch of it's like a den of snakes, man. They have no use for the truth, they're there to win their little game, and we got to get this game changed around so that it's a law. Anyways, I hear music. Thank you, George. Thanks, listeners. Thanks all those people in the chat. We'll be back Tuesday night. Take care. Have a good time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slime. They don't matter. Genocide. Sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back. It's only for they bomb. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape, they burn the kids. No one makes gun. Trees lie to your face.
My name is S.M. Gibson, and I am the host of Anti-Media Radio on UCY.TV.